What is up, awesome people, and welcome back to my Pokemon trading card game card opening series. So, in the last 3 episodes, I have done a card opening from the Kalos starter collection, or starter decks, and we had Froakie, Chespin, and Fennekin as our 3 focuses for those episodes. So the first episode was Froakie, next one was Chespin, and the last one was Fennekin. And there were some really interesting cards there, very nice, good collection of trainer cards as well, which you can use for any deck. Very well suitable cards for any situation, especially cards like Crushing Hammer, Pokemon Catcher, Teramo is a good one, which was all 3 of them. Cards like that definitely makes picking up these decks very well worth it. The only other notable card that I saw was the Greninja line from the Froakie deck. Obviously the 3 evolution line there, Froakie, Frogadier, and Greninja. Good grief. I don't know if the Froakie or Frogadier cards from the other collections have been any better, but that Greninja card, I would definitely be using that in a competitive scene. Can't remember what the Greninja card from the tin was, but if that had map block as well with the same effect, good grief, go for it. I'd be using it because that was a really strong card for 1 water energy. Plus that 40 base damage is awesome. Go for it. That's a big suggestion for a water deck. Yeah, moving on to the topic of this episode. I can't remember if I've opened these up on camera because X and Y is all big blur to me. I know I've done these on an online opening, but as far as real life opening, I can't remember. I think I haven't. I'm not too sure, but I know for the tins I have, but I've got a duplicate there of them. So we've got Xerneas and Yveltal all the way back from the X and Y expansion. Very late, I know, but I never actually got a hold of these theme decks. Someone actually gave me the codes for them, but not the actual deck. So Xerneas is Resilience Life, and Yveltal is Destruction Rush. Now, I'm at a big blur. I can't remember what these cards' effects are, so I can't remember if they're any good, but I do know their tin versions are quite strong, especially Yveltal's. So, I might open up with Xerneas for this episode and just leave Yveltal for the next one. Alright, so Xerneas is Psychic and Fairy, which, interesting combination. Of course, Xerneas would be a Fairy deck. Alright, so this one comes with 60 Pokemon cards, 1 card checklist, metallic coin, playmat and rule sheet, code to play this on theme deck online, deck box and damage counters. So your usual jazz that you find inside a theme deck, you'll find in here. So, alright, let's whip it open. Now, what's the trick to these again? These theme decks are made so weirdly. I think it's 3 here. Alright, I opened it. That's the first drop all down. Alright. So there it is. That's the meat and potatoes of what's inside that deck. Alright, so we've got our metallic coin. It's the same old silver. Oh! Am I holding it wrong, or is that the way it's... That looks cool. Okay, I know I don't have that coin because I don't remember a cool looking coin like that. Xerneas looks freaking awesome. I actually have to double check that. I can't be, surely. It's not holding it the right way, am I? Well, I am. Damn! I don't remember Xerneas looking so cool. That's awesome. I'm gonna have to use that coin. That's awesome. Alright, so we have our foil card there. This is only one way of getting this card, and of course you get the normal Xerneas in the theme deck itself, but if you want this actual holo alternative, this is the only way to get it. I'm pretty sure I don't have this card. I'm positive I don't have it. That's why I bought it. So yeah, I always go for these cards because it's one of a kind, and the boost deck only gives out the normal version of it too. Of course, we have the Trainer Challenge redemption code for it, so you can play this theme deck online. and get some cool things out of that. I think you just get some tokens out of it, and maybe if you win a certain amount, I think you get a booster deck. I can't remember. I haven't done Trainer Challenge in a long time. Excuse me, only because the theme decks I get aren't as good as what they used to be in 4th gen. So, of course, this will be the checklist with what's new inside 6th gen. I think I went over that in the last episode, last couple of episodes, maybe in the last episode. Although the only thing this would be telling you is about the Mega Evolution rules, which for those who aren't familiar with, each time a Mega is taken out, I think you take an extra prize card. So it's 2 prize cards instead of 1. It's very similar to the EX rule. And the only way you can play a Mega Evolution is to play it on the EX version of a card. So you can't play, like for example, if you got a Venusaur card, like the stage 2 version of it, you can't play Mega on top of it. It has to be on top of the Venusaur EX card. So I think that's really only major change that came after the starter decks was this. And I think that was it. There hasn't been any other big changes. Of course, the X and Y expansion came with a whopping 146 cards. I can't remember if this had any secrets. I don't think it did. So no secret rares as well in this expansion, which was a bit of a shame because that's always the cards that you go for. Right, so this brings back memories. I didn't actually do a lot of the hard physical card collecting for X and Y. I kind of jumped into it in X and Y. Alright, so as usual, your damage counters, which are quite pathetic these days because compared to the metallics you get in the Trainer Elite deck, they're not that good. Alright, and of course you get your mat. I love collecting these. I've got so many mats from all over the years. It's actually quite fun though looking at them and see how much they've changed. And as I probably mentioned, like comparison to like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic the Gathering, I haven't seen that Magic's play mats, but I know from Yu-Gi-Oh! Just from memory, it was only like half a mat, so it was only a 1-person mat, whereas Pokemon actually provides a 2-player mat, which is awesome. And even on top of that, just how user-friendly it is as well, especially for beginners. That's always one thing I used to always criticize Yu-Gi-Oh! For, was it just wasn't user-friendly. It was made for those who were hardcore players and knew how to play the game, which made learning the game quite hard to really do. And from what I see in Yu-Gi-Oh! These days, from what I've seen, it's quite, well, not what it used to be. And now with like the synchro summonings and I think it's pendulum summonings, it's all going over my head, that's for sure. I don't think I'll be getting into Yu-Gi-Oh! Anytime soon again. But anyways, we're talking about Pokemon, not Yu-Gi-Oh! So let's look at the cards. We've got Psychic Energy, more Psychic Energy. Ew, that's a lot of Psychic Energy. Alright, Scolipede is going to be our starter. More Psychic. Super Potion, Professor's Letter, which is awesome. Fairy Energy, Phantom, Venipede, Swirlix, Jigglypuff, Xerneas, the normal version. So this is what you'd normally pick up in the booster packs, as well as just a clear holo version as well. So as I said, if you wanted that particular holo, which is this one, I think it's called a cracked holo. Don't quote me on that one. It's been a while since I've looked at my terminology as well. Getting the theme deck is the way to go. Otherwise you get the normal holo version of it. Fairy Energy, Slurpuff, Termino, Roller Skate, which is another good card. Spritzy, Fairy Energy, Phantom, Great Ball, Psychic Energy, Punkaboo, Whirlipede, Fairy Energy, Doduo, Fairy Energy, Professor Sycamore. Now, I was explaining in the last episode as well, just looking at the brand new rules incoming to 6th Gen, which I wasn't aware of, just to clear it up with everyone. For those who are in a competitive scene, legal decks go by certain expansions, so it's like a certain amount of expansions can be legal, and then after a while they become illegal because of how old they are. At the moment, the Professor Juniper card from 5th Gen plays exactly like the Professor Sycamore card you're seeing in front of me. So their effect is discard your hand and draw 7 cards. Personally, I only use this very rarely, But the Professor Juniper card, being legal as well, does the same effect, as I said. Anyways, moving on. There is a rule at the moment stating that you cannot have 4 of Professor Sycamore and 4 of Professor Juniper. So if you're to have this card, you need to have 4 of this particular effect, if that makes any sense. So you can have 2 of Professor Sycamore and 2 of Professor Juniper. That is allowed, but you cannot have like 4 Professor Sycamore and 4 Professor Juniper. What the rule is stating now is you need to have 4 of that particular effect. So props to Pokemon to actually verifying that up. I do like that rule actually, for the sake of making it so it's not that OP anymore. But I'm hoping they keep that effect in instead of like banning particular expansions and all that. But it's also another rule about cards with updated effects as well being legal and all that. But that's going into a whole bunch of rule sets that I'm actually don't fully understand. But I will pull that out there for those who are aware of that rule. Anyways, we have Ekans, Fairy Energy, Venipede, Jigglypuff, Spoink, Swirlix, Dodrio, Fairy Energy, Turnamo, Fairy Garden, Aromatisse, Spritzy, Fairy Energy, Max Revive, Pumpkaboo, Psychic Energy, Mr. Mime, Professor Letter, Fairy Energy, Dodrio, Eversoda, which is awesome and probably necessary for any deck in my personal opinion. I do like carrying that one, as well as Rare Candy. So grab them if you've got them. Mr. Mime, Ekans, Fairy Energy, Great Ball, Whirlipede, Doduo, Venipede, and Spoink, as well as Fairy Energy to finish it off. So great for getting energy cards, the structure decks, as well as the trainer kits and the any other half decks. I now got lots of Fairy Energy cards, so I don't need to worry about Fairy Energy cards ever again. And that's it for the Resilience Life deck, which was the Xerneas deck. Xerneas deck box, if I haven't shown it. But yeah, I don't think there's anything else I need to mention this episode, except for in the next episode we'll be doing its counterpart, the Evantal deck, which was Destruction Rush, or Destructive Rush? Destruction Rush, I was right the first time, which is dark and, if I can remember off the top of my head, which I probably can't, dark and fighting combination deck. That's right. So, as usual, thank you so much, everyone, for taking time out of your day to check out this video. And in the next episode, we'll be checking out this little beauty and see if I can remember if this Evantal card is any decent or not. Anyways, until the next episode, this is Lady KrimZen saying ciao for now, but not forever. Ciao!